The water treatment plant on Lighthouse is a compound guarded by Rogue USEC AI, and it contains a substantial amount of high-tier loot, anything from bitcoins to graphics cards to moonshine. But it seems that many people don't know where these valuables exactly spawn. That's why in this video I'll go over precisely where the high-tier loot spawns are, along with weapon mod spawns, food spawns, and anything else that's notable. Quickly before the video starts, I'd like to mention that if you happen to learn something or enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could consider dropping a like. Also, if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to let me know in the comments. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the video. The first thing we'll take a look at is this map that I've made that shows the approximate locations of the various loot spawns. As you can see, I've color coordinated the different types of loot spawns for better viewing and understanding. I would like to clarify the first three types of spawns since I know that they may be a bit unclear. Valuables, colored in orange, are exclusively things like loose cash, gold chains, and chainlets. Rare tech, shown in light blue, are things like graphics cards, tank batteries, and Tetrises, but it could also include lesser tech loot like pliers or PCBs. And finally, rare items, shown in light pink, are things like bitcoins, VPXs, mule stims, etc. Basically, all of the good stuff. I felt the need to give these items different colors so that this map can be more accurate and better represent the loot that you can find, rather than just throwing it all into a good loot subcategory. You may also notice that ammo and med spawns aren't included in this map, and that's because I simply don't care about them, and therefore will not be including them. But if you do care, I'll point them out when we actually get to them later in the video. Last thing about this map, if you want to download it to have it up on a second monitor or something like that, I'll have an imager link down in the description below where you can go and save it. I know that most of you probably have more cognitive function than a pencil eraser, but I have to say that this video shows possible loose loot spawns, not guaranteed loose loot spawns. Meaning that you won't find, say, a graphics card in a spawn every single raid. This seems pretty obvious, but I know that at least one of you little chalk eaters is going to complain in the comments after you don't see a bitcoin somewhere where I said it would be. So just check it a few more times, and then you can come and complain. Also, unless you want to get shot by the rogues, you'll obviously have to take them out, and luckily I made a video that you should watch after this one on how to do that very easily, which you can find in the top right corner or in the description. Finally, I'd like to state that the walkthrough shown in this video is done in an offline raid, which has less loot spawning, so when you hop into an actual live raid, you'll see a lot more loot in the spawns. Alright, now let's finally get into where the loot spawns. We're going to start off here at the entrance of the water treatment plant, and immediately when we head in, we'll enter this tent on the left. You can find a food spawn on the table and ammo spawns on the boxes around it. After that, we'll head across and check this porta potty for a food/moonshine spawn. Next, head up into this green tower where we can find a food spawn on the floor and a weapon mod spawn on the chair. In the container under the tower, there's a few weapon mod spawns along the table, with an ammo spawn in the box on the ground. Last thing for this front area, we'll check this box under the AGS grenade launcher for 2 rare item spawns in this box. Now we'll head into this tent and check this cabinet and couch for weapon mod spawns and the table for a rare item spawn. There's more weapon part spawns on the nearby table and shelves. Next, we'll check behind the tent in this box for a rare item spawn by the legs of the fallen lamp, and weapon mod spawns on the table next to it. After that, we'll head to the other big tent where we can find a rare item spawn on this table, and weapon mod spawns to the left of it. In front of the smaller tent, we can find a med spawn, and when we head inside, there's a food spawn on the cot, weapon mods on the cabinets in the corner, and valuables on and under the tables. I forgot to point out in the recording that there's a rare item spawn in the smashed box just behind the tent. Now we'll head deeper into the treatment plant into this container and check the small box for a rare item. Next, we'll hop onto this aeration tank cover and check this small box right here. This can also contain another rare item. Continuing further, we'll head up this tower and check the corner for a rare item spawn. You can find an ammo spawn right here, and weapon mod spawns on the surrounding boxes. Next, we'll head into this tent and check the table for weapon mod spawns. After that, check in front of the server rack for a GPU spawn, and the table for a valuable spawn. Next, we'll go in between the two circles and check for food spawns on these two plastic chairs. There's a possible ammo spawn on these boxes. Heading into the helipad circle, we can find a valuable spawn on this table, and weapon mod spawns on the surrounding boxes. There's a small chance that a tank battery spawns on this pallet. Final thing for in here is that there's a weapon mod spawn on this box underneath the camo fabric. Next, we'll head into this wagon where we can find weapon mods along this back shelf, and a food spawn on the barrel just outside. In the tool shed, there's a possible rare tech spawn on the shelves and on the floor. Heading up the road, there's a food spawn on this box on the left, and a food and moonshine spawn right here. The cabin that I'm unlocking now is the Rogue USEC workshop, and it has a few weapon mod spawns inside with a possible tank battery spawn underneath the table. Continuing, there's food, ammo, and med spawns along these boxes here. There's also a rare item spawn in this broken box. Heading up the stairs, there's a very small chance that rare tech spawns underneath the table. There's also a med spawn to the right of it by the med piles. Now we'll head to the northern half of the water treatment plant where we'll check this blue van for a possible GPU spawn. Next, we're going to run over to this tool shed where once again rare tech can spawn on the shelves and on the ground. After that, we'll check the table in this tent for weapon mod spawns. There's a very slim chance that a rare item spawns in this broken box, and there's a few weapon mod spawns on the tables around the scout car. For the last portion of this interior tour, we'll head towards building 1 and check for rare tech spawns on the shelves and floor of the tool shed. There are a few food and ammo spawns behind this red container. We're also going to check this tool shed for more rare tech spawns, once again on the shelves and on the floor. Finally, check this box for a rare item spawn. Now we'll go over the loot spawns outside of the water treatment plant walls and inside the 3 buildings. First thing we're going to check when we go through this hole in the wall is this broken box for a rare item spawn. It also has a food spawn next to it. After that, we'll check in front of the Rogue USEC stash for food and ammo spawns atop these concrete blocks. If we unlock the Rogue USEC stash, we can find a few weapon mod spawns on the ground and on the chair. Last thing for this area is we're going to check this tent with the sandbags for possible weapon mod spawns along the pallets and on the table. Heading into building 1, we're immediately going to check underneath the stairs for 2 possible rare item spawns as well as a trooper armor spawn. If we head up the stairs, we can find a bunch of rare tech spawns basically all along the catwalk. Be sure to carefully check next to the trash piles because it's very easy to miss things like vertex processors and VPXs. In the office right in front, there's a chance for a GPU to spawn on this bottom right shelf. There's also med spawns up there. I once again forgot to point out that there's another rare tech spawn in the opposite office on the shelf as I'm showing now. Just as we head out, we can find a few ammo spawns along the sandbags and the boxes. Out here in the parking lot, there's a rare item spawn in the splintered box, and a food and ammo spawn on the boxes next to this truck. Now we'll head into building 2, where if we take a right, we can immediately find a food spawn next to the fire. There's also a small chance that rare tech spawns on the shelf back here. Same thing with the shelves across, small chance that rare tech spawns, but most of the time it's things like thermite, tool sets, and screwdrivers. Heading up the stairs, we can find a couple of rare tech spawns on the catwalk. Once again, be sure to check in between the pipes here because smaller things are easy to miss. In the further office, there's a grenade, rare tech, valuable, and food spawn along the desk and on the floor. And then the last thing in this building is the catwalk right in front of that office. There's a rare tech spawn on these flattened boxes here. Keep in mind that sometimes things like Tetrises can clip through the box, so even if you don't see anything, something might still be there. And now finally, we're going to head into Building 3. Immediately when we enter, we're going to go up the catwalk on the left and look for rare tech spawns. Just like the previous two warehouses, be sure to check around the kegs and the debris carefully because you might miss something small. At the end of the catwalk, there's another one of those broken boxes where rare items can spawn. Next, we'll head down below to this little observation post where we can find a possible tank battery spawn right on the box. Last thing we're going to check is the broken box next to the forklift for another rare item spawn. And that's most, if not all, of the notable loot spawns. If I missed anything, please be sure to let me know in the comments section. If you care about where I usually loot, I always loot all of the spawns in the two southernmost quadrants just because of the sheer amount of rare item and weapon mod spawns. I also usually loot buildings 1 and 2 because they're conveniently on the way to where I want to go, which is usually the northern checkpoint or armored train extract. Other than that, I don't really bother with building 3, not because it's bad or anything, I just don't want to go out of my way. And then I don't really touch the two northern quadrants because there's honestly too little loot for such a large area. Alright, well that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed and learned where to find loot in the water treatment plant. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could consider dropping a like. If you'd like to see more content from me, subscribing is free, and if you have any questions or feedback, you're more than welcome to leave that in the comments section. I'd also like to mention that I occasionally stream on Twitch, so if you'd like to check it out, be sure to drop a follow at the link in the description. Finally, I have a Discord server, so if you'd like to join a questionable community, the link to that is also in the description. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and don't fucking forget to kill the rogues first.